done one of these. Wait, what? This call is now being recorded.
I bought a new hat just to commemorate the occasion.
Yeah, what's the occasion?
Just because I wanted a new hat.
Oh,
And you're growing the beard.
Yeah, I know this thing's a monster. I love it. Tristan, you need to grow this as a competition now. Come on.
I'm not
What's this-
capable of
what's-
doing that.
What's this little thing here? It's like a dead rat or something.
It doesn't get any bigger than this. This is all I got.
There you go.
Funny
Oh, by the
enough,
way,
today,
Tristan,
you'll grow thicker and thicker.
your friend, what's his name? Someone contacted me. Do you know him? What's the name of the brother? You know who I'm talking about?
Which Tristan
me?
are you talking to?
Oh, sorry, K. TK.
Adele? Is it Adele?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Wait. Is it Adele? Is that her?
Actually, something different. Amir. Actually, Amir, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was Amir. Amir. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I believe that might be a friend of Deandra's
Okay.
because they asked if they could speak to you,
Okay, cool.
I believe.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna message him now that I've remembered because he was supposed to arrange a call and. All right, sent. Okay, let's begin. So I'm not sharing my screen yet. Let's do that. Okay, so just a reminder of some questions that we can be thinking about. Here they are. I'll bring that screen up again. Oh, went away. Okay, 81 here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت. Go ahead. Tristan, all right, TJ, get us started.
When the sun is shrouded in darkness.
وإذا النجوم كدرت.
And when the stars fall down.
وإذا الجبال سيرت.
When the mountains are set in motion.
وإذا العشار عطلت.
When pregnant camels are abandoned.
وإذا الوحوش حشرت.
When wild beasts are herded together.
وإذا البحار سجرت.
When the seas boil over.
وإذا النفوس زوجت.
And when the souls in their bodies are paired once more.
وإذا الموءودة سئلت.
When the baby girl buried alive is asked.
بأي ذنب قتلت.
For what sin she was killed.
وإذا الصحف نشرت.
When the records of deeds are spread open.
وإذا السماء كشطت.
When the sky is stripped away.
وإذا الجحيم سعرت.
When hell is
made to place.
وإذا الجنة أزلفت.
And when paradise is brought near.
علمت نفس ما أحضرت.
Then every soul will know what it has brought about.
Okay, cool. So this is how we start some discussion. So first 14 verses. So as you can see, it's describing a whole bunch of different things that will happen on that day, right? And all the different creation that we know about today, how they will basically change, right? And what will happen to them, or those creation, and then what will be the situation of men. So we see here, for example, talks about the sun, the stars, the mountains, the she camels, right? So why is this important here? 81.4 is basically talking about these camels, and as you can see, one of the translation was pregnant she camels, right? Why pregnant she camels is because that's a really important asset, right? So not only you have a huge camel, and you also have a camel that's pregnant. So now obviously you're expecting to profit and grow your wealth. So obviously right now none of us deals with animals as an asset, but you can imagine whatever you would consider an asset, right? Let's say if you have a farm, cow farm, dairy farm, and you have or horses or a production company, right? Let's say software or car manufacturing company for Tristan, right? So imagine you have a whole plant or a whole showroom dealership of 10 cars, and or a truck with a new shipment with 5 loaded cars and whatnot. How precious that would be. So what it's saying that the she camels are abandoned, they're neglected. So that's the situation there, right? That in the world, you'll be so cautious about it, you'll be so caring about it, making sure that nobody harms them, they're taken care of, they're guarded well. If something goes wrong, you'll be concerned, making sure the doctor and medical help is there, because you don't want to lose those, not only the mother but the baby as well. And the whole wild beast, they will be gathered. The sea will be set on fire, oceans will be set on fire, and then now, from a human being perspective, it says the souls and their bodies, will be paired together. So souls will be returned into the bodies for the day of resurrection. And the situation is talking about the baby girl that the Arabs of that time used to bury. They will be asked, why were you killed? Obviously, that's a rebuking to the killer, the murderer, not the baby girl itself. And the records of the deeds will be laid open, right? So now your whole record is away, in front of everyone. And then, okay, I think this is where we stop. No, I think
You're not sharing your screen anymore. FYI.
1 second. Entire screen. Okay.
May I? Oh, sorry.
There you go.
So 11 is saying the sky will be stripped away, and the hellfire will be made to blaze, and the Jannah, the paradise, will be brought near. And that's the time when every soul will have awareness and clarity of what have they sent forward, right? That's the time of accountability. That's the time of reward, profit and loss, however you want to put it, right? That's the time where you actually see your statement of deeds. Okay.
Is this describing?
Mhm.
Is this describing judgment day or the calamity?
Oh, no, Judgment Day, right? So events of the Judgment Day.
I see.
Okay. Right. And let's say if you wanted to go in and see okay, how do we know, what is being describing? So I think Quran.com, as we discussed last time, you just click on here quickly, and then you click on Tafsir. Boom, right? And then you can see what's being said, right? So now you have that, the hadith by Imam Ahmad recorded from Ibn Umar, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever wishes to look at the day of judgment as if he is seeing it with his own eyes, then let him read when the sun is wound round. So that's chapter 81. Why is my screen? Sun is wound round, chapter 81. And when the heaven is cleft asunder, chapter 82. And when the heaven is split asunder, chapter 84. Right? So these are the 3 chapters that actually cover a lot of the scenarios and different events that will happen on that day. And obviously, with more details, we have, describing all these things and events, as well as the different hadith that describe that. Okay, so pausing onto that. So what attracts you, or what are your thoughts as you reflect on that, right? So one way of thinking about it is that, how would you use these verses or these information that we just read to advise a friend of a certain situation that he may be going through. Okay, so what would your takeaway be? So before I give mine, let's go around and see what you guys can comment on, inshallah. So who wants to share?
We will be judged. We will be like seen in front of everyone or something. Just like how we behaved, everything would come forward, and the truth's always going to be there. So, it's something you shouldn't really think about that much if you're a good person, I guess, or you should,
Good. Yes, I think that
No,
like
you-
one takeaway related one would be like to take a look at just our deeds, right? Today, right? Let's say, even if I were to take a look at it, like, okay, what did I do today or what did I not do today, right? I think that's a good way to like even end your day, to just to do like a daily reflection, right? That will hopefully help us to, to be focused. And what we were talking earlier about the Habit Share app as an example, if you were to do that and do some sort of review that, look, I wanted to do this, like, what did I do with my day today, right? What things did I miss? Could I have done it better and whatnot, right? Because it's all being recorded, and there will be a day that will actually be presented with it. So if we start taking care of our day by day, we can hopefully have a better impact and not really mess up the life and miss out on the opportunities that we have.
Well, it allows you to reflect and be introspective.
Two. Okay, so Tristan, Jay, what are your thoughts? Like, how would you phrase that, or what stands out to you?
So what stands out to me would be, I think I just said it was reflection and introspection. So taking a look at your deeds and acts and the things you do, say, think, and otherwise, and see where changes can be made, so that there are more good deeds recorded than there are bad when you make that shift. It also allows you an opportunity for repentance and ask Allah for forgiveness.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Raj, Nadiz, TK?
Something about the camel. What was it?
Mhm.
Camel, and I read. It made me think about something about another chapter about the rejected camel. There was a rejected camel, and it got hamstrung.
Right.
Yeah, that one. I don't know, when they mentioned the camel, that made me think about that. But yeah.
Yeah. So these are two different contexts, though, right? So actually, that's what I wanted to talk as well. So you see how I have like one of the bullets saying, what is it reminding me to focus on, right? So in this scenario, what Allah is saying that, the camels will be neglected, like the pregnant camels will be neglected. There's another verse in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the mother who is breastfeeding her child, she will neglect her child, right? So what is trying to show is that, things that are of top concern and top priority and focus for us today, when things come to the day of judgment, how people will become focused on themselves, such to the point that a mother will neglect her child, right? And similarly, like a businessman or business owner or would neglect her or his pregnant camel. So I think sometime when we're reading this, and then we may be concerned with different things that are going on in our life, different bills, different assignments, different deadlines, different presentations, school, whatever, and this kind of draws our attention to something that's even way more important, that hey, let's not neglect what's more important and more everlasting than for something that's short term, right? So for example, neglecting salah as an example for work or job or studies or business and what have you, right? Or for family, for example, right? I'm just busy with kids. It's an easy statement to make, but what does that mean, right? How busy are you, right? To reflect on that or not. So that's that. And the other camel situation that you're mentioning about, that's a different situation in which a prophet was given, a camel as a miracle, and she would drink from the water. Like one day she would drink and one day the people would drink. and people were like really upset about it, and then they went and killed the camel itself as an act of disobedience.
I
Cool.
think that's the people of Moat or something.
Yeah. Okay. So these are, what are your thoughts? How would you use these verses to, let's say, advise a friend?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it just reminds me, like, like no matter what, no matter how much stuff we got going on in front of us, like that day is coming, whether we fear it or love it, like it's coming regardless. So like we need to prepare for that day, and we don't want to be in that position. Like when you do something wrong to somebody, like something I always say is like when we do something wrong to somebody, it's hard to say sorry to that person. So I always say, like, imagine having to say sorry to God, like on that day when it's not going to be accepted anymore. Like it's going to be crazy hard. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be put in that position. I just think that, like, it's scary. Like, and especially at that point, like it's prophesized that He won't accept your sorries at that time. So I just think the fear of it is crazy.
Yes, good. Yeah, I think this is really important to have that sort of balance of fear and as well as the opportunity. Because yes, so as you will see at the end, towards the end of the chapter, yes, Allah will describe the situation of fear and what's awaiting people of who neglect and who are disobedient and who are rebels. But at the same time, it will also describe the beautiful opportunities that lie ahead for people who have discipline, who live a life of justice, and worshiping the Creator and being in the bounds, and with that bringing peace and justice to the community and to the society, and what all Allah has prepared for them. Good. Who else is left? TK, do you want to say anything?
I don't really have much else to add, really, to be honest.
No, you can repeat the same thing too, right? But I think what this does is this gives us that sort of mindset to do reflections and introspection, as TJ mentioned, right? So it doesn't have to be something unique or new, right? So I think just even taking that moment to share something, it helps me, and I'm sure it helps everybody else as well, just listening it from someone else.
I also just wanted to add.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
No, yeah, you go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add, like, also, like, just hearing all the descriptions of what happens to everything, like, to us today. The sky is so big, the mountains are huge, and it just shows how powerful Allah is. Like he just makes them nothing. Like He'll blow them away. Fire, like, imagine the whole seas on fire. Just something we used to take out fire is just turned into fire. Like the skies will rip. Like that's all crazy to me.
What I love about this is it just, that constant reminder, like, and it's subconsciously actually like gets deep into your subconscious that you actually have to think about what you're doing on a daily basis, right? Like maybe people that are not super religious as we once were, we wouldn't have that conscience like that, right? So it's really great to read it over, like, a lot of people like say, oh, it's there over and repeat, but like it's like stamping you like in your conscience, right? So I just think it's really great to actually have that and actually realize that you actually have to think about your actions and such.
Yeah. All right, so TK, now you have chance. You can do a mixed match of different things that you have heard. Make your own speech.
I'm really not sure. I really don't have anything. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize for that. We'll get you next time. Cool. I think just something that came up to my mind as we were talking about this is, if any of you have been following Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrency or even the stocks and what have you, right? So these are the same sort of assets, right? So if you were to ask someone like a year ago, and people would be like, oh, wow, yeah, man, I really value it. But now, something that was so valuable for people, now it's trading for like 25% of that price or even less in some cases, right? Some things have been totally wiped out. So as an example, like you may have the same product or a coin or a stock, and people would be willing to pay like $100 for it, and then all of a sudden it's not like just worth $0, right? I say nobody wants to buy it as an example, right? So the assets are so subjective, and the relative values of it, that one day you are like loving it and you're paying huge amount of money to buy it, and then boom, all of a sudden it's like yeah, I don't care about it. Just people just, just get rid of it sort of thing. So wealth and, a lot of this thing is just like a lot of perception. And over time, when you realize the reality of something, you realize what their real worth is. Which means, like, from a practical perspective, two things, right? Sometimes you may be concerned and worried and anxious about something, but if you just step out of that situation and you realize that, hey, you know what, it's really not that much of a big deal that I was making it. And also the other angle of it is the sacrifice element, right? Sometimes we choose, as a simple example, right, we choose to prefer our sleep and our comfort, and miss waking up and praying fajr, as an example, right? So that's a choice we are making. You're choosing sleep and comfort over prayer, as a very simple basic thing, because usually at that time there's no work for most people or anything, so it's just really a personal struggle, right? Me, my sleep, or prayer. When you're at work, then yeah, it's a different thing. Okay, me, what will my people think about me? What will my boss think about me? What will my colleagues think about me? And prayer, right? But I think Fajr or Isha or something like that, when it's just between you and Allah, it's essentially just you, right? I mean, you just have to fight with yourself and have that discipline and enjoy the salah.
For me, when I potentially going to miss Fajr, I can just hear Allah going, oh. So that's what gets me out of bed. I'm like, I'm going to disappoint Allah. So I'm going to get my butt out of bed and go do Fajr.
Okay, inshallah. Yeah, now actually it's probably one of the easiest time, relatively speaking, right? With the long nights, so you can have a good night's sleep and still be able to wake up and get it. Inshallah.
Sometimes your like body itself just wakes up like 10 minutes or even 20 minutes before. Sometimes even like for tahajjud, like out of nowhere I just wake up. It's like I look at the clock. It's like, oh wow, like I didn't even imagine. And I just sometimes I get up, sometimes I don't get up, but like sometimes it's a little too early. But
Yeah, and it's actually a two-way street too, right? Like, it's not just like your own self-discipline, but obviously Allah facilitates, right? So there's this thing of, okay, us trying, but look, if but if we are able to wake up and stand up and do prayer or even tahajjud or what have you, that's also, inshallah, a good sign that Allah facilitated it for us, right? As opposed to, not making it happen. So if sometime we are struggling, then it could also be a point of reflecting, okay, why is this happening to me, right? Is there something else inside me or my priorities that's causing me to miss out? Because Allah is essentially giving you and accepting you and giving you that opportunity to stand up and have that sort of conversation with him, which is like a one-on-one conversation, right? And when it comes to someone else that we appreciate, a celebrity or a business owner, and we'd like love to have that sort of one-on-one conversation with him. Cool. Any other questions, comments before we wrap up?
Comments for Fajr. My the teacher I'm dealing with, he told me that if you don't set your alarm in the morning for Fajr, then you are planning to fail. You are planning to miss. You're planning because you didn't set your alarm.
Yeah, there was no intention, right?
Yeah, there's no intention. So you have to set the alarm. You have to make the intention, and you have to put the energy in.
So one of the things I have in my habit share is I have my alarm. My alarm is not my habit share. I have my alarm for 6 a.m. But in my habit share, I have Fajr. So I check off that I've done Fajr. I also check off that I have stayed awake after Fajr, which I stole from Abdullah Zim. So that's my routine.
Good. Yeah, I think I would highly recommend, let us all get connected on habit share. I think it's good just seeing each other doing it and checking off. I think it creates that a good momentum, inshallah.
Because in the tribal group, when I get together with them last week, one of the brothers said, I see you checking in on your prayer on time every time, and I wish I could do that. You're such an inspiration, right? So it inspires others to want to do better, to want to pray on time, right? So
absolutely.
I think what we were doing, I don't know if it was one Ramadan or something, but like I remember we were all messaging each other on WhatsApp saying it's Fajr time, I think Justin was doing that with us too. It's like, good morning.
And
I do that with my other brother, who is also Muslim. Like we contact each other just before Fajr or
nice.
during Fajr. That's pretty cool.
Cool. Great. Well, thank you everyone. Good call. Inshallah. Let's get to prayer Isha, and then we can call it a night as well. And then yeah, so let's get connected for habit share, inshallah, for this week. I think that let's see how that goes, inshallah.
If you guys have any questions on how to get on or whatever, let me know.
Oh, what I wanted to bring up,
Mhm.
that Tristan, you mentioned something happening in Mississauga.
So there's an event happening in Mississauga where they are bringing certain artifacts of the Prophet Muhammad here, his hat and various other artifacts. It's only for